searched for the power to grant me the wish I've wanted for so long, only to learn that I have the power inside me all along. Everybody has something deep within them, a wish that's wishing to break free. Just close your eyes and start to believe everything's a possibility. Just speak the words, we're listening, and you'll have all your envisioning. Everybody has something deep within them, a wish that's wishing to break free. Just close your eyes and start to speak. Everything's a possibility.
Last time on Wish Fulfillment, you can feel that you are out of these dreams, out of these nightmares that have continuously been created. Thank you. I'm really trying. But... And then in front of you, like before, you see the head and this dragon start to emerge as if clawing their way through a portal. And they're still phasing in and out between these two creatures. The bright, kind moonstone dragon who is beseeching you with their eyes, and this dark, jagged, almost nightmarish version of it that has a wicked smile on its face. But I'm going to have fun finally destroying you. And I need you all to roll initiative.
Rage, and when I do, I basically lunge into it, and wings unfurl, and I take on draconic kind of things, and just the thing just goes over me, and I'm like, "You're not the only void."
What does it look like when you stop a storm of vengeance from being called down from the nightmare?
Just keep fighting it. Remember the stories that we told at the campfire. Yours had a happier ending than it was in the story. Just remember, we're here to help. And I'll start wailing on the void dragon.
We're trying to help you. Come home to us.
All right. We had a fun time, didn't we, buddy? And he just taps the armor on his belly. We did. We really did. And then the armor starts vibrating, and then it starts glowing this bright, super bright white color. And then Booeno just starts running, and then it's like he jumps and he jet propulses the armor into the dragon. And my body stays behind as the armor is like a giant missile going to the dragon, and I need that dragon to make a dexterity 19.
You can do this. You're almost there. And Chance is going to walk up just as calmly as possible and lay a hand on Henna and use an action to cast Cleansing Touch.
As your cleansing touch washes over the Moonstone Dragon and your words inspire it, it grits its teeth and nods at you, and both of its legs come up and it shoves. And as it shoves, it slashes at this void dragon, which the two finally separate. You watch as it wavers and collapses. Basically turns to dust, turns to ash, turns to a particulate that scatters into the air and into the wind, leaving behind a deck on the ground of cards. It's quiet, especially after the last 12, 14 hours, however long this adventure has been. It is dead silent. inside of this weird demiplane inside of an astral dreadnought. As you stand before this ancient moonstone dragon, now separated from the corruption from the void, standing there, it's immense. It's an ancient dragon. They are just mind-bogglingly huge. And yet, despite their size, you all are also unable to ignore the tiny little deck of cards in a box that has now fallen into the dust in front of them. And Henna, the dragon, lets out a sigh that is full of grief and relief and a little bit of joy. Oh, I didn't know how far that had gone until it went too far. Thank you. Thank you so much. Where did you?
Chance is already walking to grab the cards and hold them.
And you'll see as Henna looks to you and sees what you are doing, they actually kind of back up, almost like someone would just noticing a dangerous creature in front of them. Not you, the deck of cards. And they back up a little bit. You know how you think you're going to do something and it's a good idea? And then you just kind of think the next thing is a good idea, and the next thing is a good idea, and then suddenly you're doing things you never thought you would do because you thought it was a good idea.
Only always.
Thank you for stopping me from doing something really awful, but I'm not going to blame the deck. It was a tool that I used, but I still did some pretty bad things. Are you okay to deal with that?
I feel okay. Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Survived, and we got Henna back, so
The damage that has been done can be undone.
I have amends to make if some of the nightmares that I'm thinking about are actual events, then I have a couple of people I need to talk to. Who? What are? I don't even know what to do next. I don't even know. And you watch as Henna looks around at what you know is a demiplane inside of another creature, but it's so massive. It's hard to think of that kind of scale, and especially all the places that you've been through. She looks around, she goes, "We should probably get out of here." I don't know how do I even begin to thank all of you?
Are they still a dragon, by the way? Or
Yes, they
Okay.
are now just a regular moonstone dragon. They don't have the weird corruption from the void going on.
well, I'll be okay if well, if you're okay with it, can I ride you on your back while you fly?
Absolutely, although I don't know if flying will be what gets us out of here. I think I can.
Oh wait.
I think I have a better way that won't have to deal with the creature we are inside, but you are certainly welcome to. And you watch as, instead of finishing that sentence, she just leans down and offers a leg and a shoulder for all four of you.
I immediately get up on them.
How about the rest of you? Do you climb on board?
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
It is.
Sit in the front and just go, yeah, yeah.
Yeah! Unlike a luck dragon, Henna is, because she is ancient, she is so large that the space between where the back of her head ends and the start of her shoulders, that you can all kind of perch on semi-comfortably, almost like you're riding a horse or some other kind of animal. There's so much room there. All four of you fit comfortably, one after another. And the only question that comes up just before she rises back up is like, what are you supposed to hold on to? And then, as if that question is being answered immediately, there's parts of her that you would notice that they're connected, but not physically. There's bits of the large moon horn on the front that it's almost like they're bits of an asteroid circling a moon. There are parts of her horns and scales that are just slowly rotating, like they are part of her, but not directly attached. And as she rises back up, next to all of you, some of these rise up and give you kind of something to hold on to. And she asks out loud, which means all of you feel her entire body shake and vibrate through your being. Where should I go? I can take you anywhere you want, at least almost anywhere.
Didn't we have business at the library to attend to?
At the very least. An
Yeah, you're gonna
apology
want to
the
probably
library.
put in some volunteer hours at the library.
Yeah.
Then that is where we can begin. And by we, I mean me, and you can come along if you would like. And that vibration as she finishes talking continues. And she continues to vibrate, and you hear a hum like a tuning fork. And then all of a sudden, that weird pit in your stomach forms as you are all plane shifted away. And the camera will kind of pull back in a weird way through a big tunnel and teeth. And then suddenly the camera is showing the outside of the astral dreadnought, the giant creature with the crab claws that you'd all climbed on into to get into its pocket dimension inside. And it's just going, ha, ha,
Bye.
ha. We're going to do a little bit of a jump at this point. So Henna is going to go back to the library and talk to the creature there that is in charge of the library and help start to make amends. But all of you have other things that you need to do, that you want to do, that were the reason you went on this quest. And so we're going to skip ahead a year from now. And I'd like to find out, and I think what probably makes the most sense is to start with Booeno. You and all of your friends went on this journey in order to prove yourself to the Seldarine so that you could become a Baelnorn. And once the library has been cleared, once the dragon is comfortable and safe, and everything has been taken care of, you are offered the opportunity to ascend to become a Baelnorn if you choose. Are you interested in saying yes? And if you do, what is it that you want to dedicate your life to protecting?
Oh.
Or your unlife, I should say, at that point.
Oh yeah, big time. He immediately accepts, becomes a Baelnorn, and a protector of Strixhaven.
And what is it about Strixhaven that draws you to protecting it?
I think it's because he met a lot of friends there, especially one of his friends in Lorehold, and I think that at this point he is just standing outside of the Lorehold school, and he's looking at the D&D equivalent of pictures, and he just looks at everybody like taking pictures around Hannah, around our dearest friends, and like having tea and like doing a thumbs up and everything. And then he sees at the distance the Demogorgon just approaching the Strixhaven. He says, "Oh, come on, not again." And he just snaps his fingers, and the Demogorgon goes back to whatever he came from. And I think in Strixhaven, he's just floating around, looking at everybody, helping wherever he can. And if somebody gets unruly or somebody um, summons a different kind of creature, he just is there to protect and help everybody.
That's awesome. And as you've told your friends what you wanted to do and where you wanted to be. So the rest of you all know this is where Booeno has kind of dedicated their existence to. Chance, you, after this adventure, now have a very full, very complete deck of many more things even. What do you do with it, and what do you go on to do?
Chance would immediately take this very large deck back to the Solar Bastion, back to the table of all those that help with this sort of situation, knowing that Chance can do a lot, but this is pretty important to get it out of circulation and into the right hands. So after doing that, and after the adventure with Henna, Chance realized something, that a lot of what Chance does is cleanup. It's not prevention. And that knowledge is power. And that had Henna had the knowledge, she would have had the power. So, wanting to follow their friend Booeno, also Chance goes to Strixhaven as well and becomes a Lorehold teacher that teaches about the deck of many things and about all that power and all the consequences, and trying to spread awareness of this sort of power and responsibility, so that once again it's about prevention, and that way they can stay close to their friends as well.
And it's a valuable class. You find yourself starting by teaching about the deck, but it kind of quickly expands to just dangerous magic items in general. You become the expert at how to identify, how to recognize, how to deal with, how to handle all of the different types of magical artifacts that are out there, some of which have been there from the beginning of time and will be there until the end of existence. And so it's not about destroying, it's about dealing. And you are that quintessential, oh, you need to learn about dangerous magic items? Go to Chance. They're going to be able to help you. So you've got a nice setup there. It's actually very helpful to be very good friends with the Baelnorn, who is looking over Strixhaven, because sometimes when you're teaching a class about dangerous magic items, you need to have a dangerous magic item. And so having a Baelnorn just kind of nearby to give you some backup helps a lot with some of the more interesting items that you deal with. Manamal, you have had this experience. You had some bad experiences with some other parties and had come back to this group and kind of refound your adventurous spirit. Where do we find you in a year?
Okay, so camera wise, it shows a theater inside like the Prismari, is it how it's pronounced?
Mhm.
The Prismari school, there's like this theater, and there's a bunch of students kind of sitting around it, and there is a red Aarakocra who is standing on the stage, kind of like checking their D&D watch, and out of nowhere, you just see from like a window up high, Manimal dives down, does a flip, throws the immovable rod, clicks it into place, just basically does all kinds of acrobatic stuff, and then lands superhero pose right on the center of the stage. and stands up and just says, some of you were born in darkness. I chose darkness. And this is my teacher assistant, Rob. Um, and I'm gonna show you how to take a persona that fits your truth and how to live it and be a protector. And he basically is going to teach stage combat, theater. He's basically gonna help build super adventurers out of these students, to take kind of performance and turn it into a genuine profession in adventuring. And he decided to stay at Strixhaven, even though it was a while. He didn't feel like he kind of fit in. He adventured. He doesn't see himself as an aspiring teacher like all the others could be, but yeah, like you said, just adventuring with this group where it's the only group he's ever felt just warmth and kindness while also doing what needs to be done and being able to solve a problem that definitely may call for violence but doesn't necessarily need to be solved exclusively through that violence. And so yeah, I think he focuses a lot on um non-lethal non-lethal takedown, things like that, and is basically on call for if Chance ever needs to do a field trip or any reasons to protect the school. um he stands at the ready with his new teachers and assistant Rob.
And Rob is excellent. Rob like dove into teaching right away. The two of you definitely have a great rapport. The only issue was eventually you needed to convince him that he didn't need to do the deep voice that you were doing. He needed to kind of find his own way. And after many throat lozenges and a lot of coaching, you finally kind of have Rob now has his own thing. And now he can help teach your students who just because they're students learning how to do the thing, they want to emulate their teacher, and so they all kind of start to do the voice. And he passes out all the lozenges and is very good at helping you coach all of these students in the ways of using that kind of charisma and presence to avoid fights as much as to end them quickly.
And I think that when they're all trying to emulate him with the voice and stuff, I was like, you don't all have to do it. Come on now. But as he turns around, he just goes like,
awesome. Aster, you had gone on this adventure for kind of similar reasons to Manamal. These are your friends. You were kind of just out having some fun. Where does Aster go after this? Where do we find Aster a year from now?
A year from now, Aster, after all of the adventure, had gone back to traveling because that was sort of how our group was. We would get together, one to just see each other and be friends, but also usually shenanigans and adventure sort of came to follow us, and we'd go our separate ways. And in that time, Aster has been traveling and meeting new people, but he's also been telling the story of their last big adventure about, a dragon you see in dreams and about amazing, kind, compassionate adventurers and the dangers of unchecked knowledge and power. And even this outdoor construction called a gazebo, which nobody really understood when he was trying to explain it. And then he explained it was a place you could have tea in, and everybody was much more interested in that part of it. And after traveling a while, he realized that the more he told the stories about Manamal and Booeno and Chance, that he missed them. So he also made his way to Strixhaven, where he sort of inadvertently talked his way into being an adjunct professor in all of the colleges, but never really kind of shows up for the classes. He did, maybe he was going to do one about, you do not need the word deity to spell divinity. And Lorehold was very interested in that. And after he had to make a lesson plan, he kind of gave up on it and just like told the class, like, you can all just go. It's like, I'll mark you down. You get an A. It's fine. You're all awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go. So yeah, he kind of he still travels a bit, but he definitely comes back to Strixhaven just because he misses seeing his friends.
I imagine what you spend the most of your time at Strixhaven doing is not essentially coaching, but like being the person that a lot of the students can go to when they are having a problem, feeling confident in their own abilities, especially if their powers have come from another being. You kind of have just locked into the idea of you can manifest your own power, and it doesn't matter anything else that's going on. You should be confident in yourself and what you can do. And I think a lot of students, you do that introductory 101, you can't spell deity without divinity, and how you don't need any of that, and here's your A's, go away. And then they just kind of find you, the students that
Ugh.
really need that talking to about, maybe they don't actually want to be a cleric, maybe, but they're afraid of leaving and losing that power, or they were thinking about becoming a warlock, but whatever the reason is, you become kind of the unofficial, oh, that's who you go to if you need therapy. I can't come up with a better word for it. You become the deity therapist. But it's definitely one of those, if someone asks, well, what does Aster actually teach? Everybody points to that 101 class, but nobody can seem to come up with anything else that you do, but everybody agrees that you are an essential part of Strixhaven. And I think as you are hanging out uh, on one of the grassy promenades in Strixhaven, it's a gorgeous day. You've just had a couple of chats with some students who've gone off to have some deep thoughts. And you see Chance and Manamal in between classes coming on by, who are, as always, happy to see you. And you can feel the presence of Booeno, which is very useful, because as all of you kind of have a moment of, hey, how's it going? We should get together for lunch. How'd you see this student? Yeah, this one I had to give some lodges into because, but Manimal, they were in your class. And, Chance, did you hear about what happened with the most recent magic item? And kind of catching up, the ground shakes. And just outside the borders of Strixhaven, you hear a tremendous roar that echoes across the college, and all of the students and faculty freeze as in the distance you see, rising out of the ground, causing the earth itself to rupture, a beast with a giant toothy maw and spikes down the back, two massive legs carrying it on two more clawed arms on the front, and a tail that whips out and just destroys a whole acreage worth of trees. As you realize that Tarask is a little bigger than it should be, Chance, you just make out, is there like a band or something on one of its spikes? And Aster, you're pretty sure, like, this thing is acting weirder than it should. And Manimal, you recognize when a creature is not acting correctly. And Booeno, you kind of apparate in back of all three of them as this thing roars. And I think in this moment, as the camera pulls back and you all get into superhero pose, that's where we're going to pause. And
We're gonna need a bigger cookie.
And you're going to need a bigger cookie. As there's kind of a weird joy, because you all, it's going to be a little bit of a fight. And then you're going to have to figure out what's going on with this Tarask. But you've handled stuff like this before. You got this. The four of you are awesome. And yeah, I think that's where credits roll. And thank you so much for fulfilling my wish to run a game for all four of you.
That was
That was so
absolutely
fun.
amazing.
Thank you so much. Oh,
I've searched for the power to grant me the wish I've wanted for so long, only to learn that I have the power inside me all along. Everybody has something deep within them, a wish that's wishing to break free. Just close your eyes and start to believe everything's a possibility.